Today, I've got something that resonates with me, so hopefully it does with you. I think social media is total bullshit. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was kind of humble bragging about how I didn't do social media, and he called me out on my bullshit right away. He said, "Dude, you're on LinkedIn and you post and comment all the time." And I thought, fuck, I forgot LinkedIn is actually social media. So today, I'm talking about LinkedIn. It's bullshit. We all know it, but it has its uses. So I wanted to pontificate on this article that, ironically enough, I found on LinkedIn while researching this episode. It's a pretty raw and candid look at the culture of the platform that virtually every professional is familiar with. It's written by a guy named Peter King, no relation. The piece is titled "Smugness Culture is Toxic." And it's a must read for anybody who's ever felt out of place in the polished and often unrealistic world of professional networking. You can find the full article on LinkedIn or just Google it, but right now I want to talk about the core of what King's message is and dissect what it means for us as professionals in the digital age. King opens the article by taking a critical stance against the culture of LinkedIn. Not the users themselves per se, but rather the environment cultivated by the platform's design and the unspoken rules of engagement. He describes it as full of smug bullshit and argues that opposing culture is better for everyone involved. And why is this important? King points out that the culture on LinkedIn is shaped by subtextual themes, the implicit messages we receive from the way we interact on the platform. And he lists examples. But before I get into those examples, I do think that he's right. It's full of smug bullshit. I mean, how often you get on there and you see somebody you know that they're just full of shit with the stuff they post. But it is what it is. So some of the examples he gives are simplification of complex matters, um, a false consensus of opinions. If money doesn't matter, why don't you give me some of yours? The equation of niceness with success. I kind of see this one, but does anybody really care about that? And the inflated sense of self-importance. And that one the last one really kind of resonates with me. And actually, there's one more. He talks about success depends on learning from failure. So talk about failure more. Again, I kind of get the sentiment from that. Kind of normalize failure. It might be a little off-putting, like I don't know if anybody's really willing to talk about their failures, although it'd be great. Like Gary Vaynerchuk kind of does that. But I don't know that he ever gives concrete examples, or maybe I just tuned it out and I don't listen. But anyways, let's kind of unpack these one by one. So his first point, he argues that the world is complex and we do a disservice to ourselves and others when we pretend otherwise. How many times do you see guys like Grant Cardone or Dave Ramsey just oversimplifying the issue? Just 10x, baby. Grant Cardone, dude's rich and I think he's cool and great, but I'm not saying those attitudes aren't good to have. I'm just saying there are multiple factors that us consumers of content have to deal with that aren't always clear cut, but they invoke something in your brain that makes you think that this is a very simple solution and the world really isn't like that. A lot of people get swept up in that. And as King states, thinking complex things are simple is the mark of an idiot, not a savant. I think that's right on the money. Success depends on learning from failure. So talk about failure. He goes on to challenge the notion that success comes without failure, asserting that true success is often built on mountains of failures. And that's a narrative we don't hear enough about. And this one I kind of disagree with. I think that LinkedIn is full of people who are talking about failing multiple times to get to the top. It's almost in the citationary of oversimplifying complex matters, just fail right on up. But that is literally an oversimplification. People have families and mouths to feed. I get the sentiment, but it's about resilience. And I think a more apt point would be the illusion that everyone is successful on LinkedIn. I mean, I see dudes on there that look like they're just crushing life, and then I'm shitty about my life and what I'm doing. And I just think, don't bullshit me. I know what you do. And we'll talk about a little bit more about that in a bit. I'll circle back. Moving on to the suppression of diverse opinions. King reminds us of the value of individual perspectives. He warns against the dangers of political correctness and that stifles genuine discourse and the exploration of ideas. Man, this one is right on the money again. How many people posted something about the Ukraine war, and then a few times someone dared to ask a question about why or give the Russian perspective, people goes off. And it's happening right now with the Hamas-Israel thing, or COVID. Remember that? I think everybody's conveniently forgotten about how miserable that experience was. I'm not talking about being locked up. I'm talking about ratting on your neighbors, friends, losing, relationships over not getting vaccinated, family members not spending Christmas together because, somebody in the government said maintain 6 feet of separation, stay home. Does anybody remember that? How many professional people waded into that fiasco? How many professional people get involved in political conversations that obviously you're not going to change other people's mind? Why put it on the platform? Can we just have nice things? Is that too much to ask? But I understand his point is like, which is better for humanity? And what King says is let people speak, let them say unconventional, the impolite, the unapologetic thing. Listen to what they say. Stand for free speech and against the mindless herd. You don't have to agree, and you can strongly disagree. Or more importantly, you can agree with some of what they say while disagreeing with the rest, but don't let discomfort silence anyone. And that's so true. King also tackles the taboo topic of money. He calls out the hypocrisy of those who claim money isn't important, usually to those who have plenty of it. He urges us to be honest about our financial priorities and reject the idea that monetary concerns are somehow unworthy of attention. I love the it's not about the money trope, and I get it. I wish I could get to that point, but bro, I need to get paid. This engine don't run on sunshine and rainbows. And perhaps most controversially, King takes a stand against the narrative that all successful people are nice, arguing that this overlooks the reality of how some have gained their wealth through exploitation and bullying. He calls for a culture, whether this truth is perceived or not, there really is corporate bullying. A lot of times people make their living off the labors of others. In fact, I just had a conversation with a person I work with, and we were talking about salary versus hourly employees and how we have the salary employees are typically designed to work a 40-hour work week. But due to some cuts, those salary employees are going to now have to work more. I said, hey, we can move the schedule to a 410. It would give us more coverage, and we don't necessarily need that fifth day, and we can move some other folks in there to cover the spread on the fifth day. And the person said, well, what's the big deal? Their salary. And what he was implying was that we could work them until exhaustion because their salary. And I just fundamentally disagree with that at every level. That's kind of my point here is a corporate structure makes their money off of the labors of others. I mean, that's how it's designed to be, but you don't have to treat people like crap and grind them into dirt. Anyways, I digress. Finally, King reflects on the concept of self-worth and the role media plays in perpetuating the idea that everyone is the center of their own universe. He suggests that accepting our relative insignificance can be a form of kindness, both to ourselves and others. How many people do you see on LinkedIn with the job title problem solver, complex thinker? Then when you read their profile, the dude is a light bulb changer or never had a job. My other favorite is visionary leader. Bro works as a purchaser for a paper company. Like, another favorite is the guy who posts obvious made up bullshit for clicks because some consultant told him it would look better if they were engaged with the network. Bullshit. I call bullshit from a mile away. We can tell your post is bullshit. I'm not saying that it's all bad. Just get out of your own way. If you have a legit post that you need help solving, then fire away, but don't troll for comments. That's just JV. My other quasi cringe thing is military folks on LinkedIn. And I'm a retired soldier, so I feel like I can criticize this portion. Folks that have years before getting out, to me, you look like a jackass trying to run in these civilian circles. Don't. You have a huge network in the military. Use that. Now, I'm not talking about the guys that are transitioning. I'm talking about the second lieutenant that just graduated from infantry officer basic course, or the senior airman who still has 5 years left on their enlistment. Just don't. You're not going to contribute anything of value. Let me rephrase that. It's not that you're not going to contribute anything of value. It's just you're not going to get the return on your investment. And frankly, I can't use you. I deal with this all the time. Is I got a guy that will come to me looking for a job and, hey, when do you get out? Oh, I'm 2 years out. I'm not even thinking about anything that far out as a civilian employer. I can maybe start looking at something 90 days out. In the civilian world, we just don't run on that type of timeline. I mean, I'm sure there are some industries that do, but in the aviation industry, when I'm looking to backfill aircrew positions or pilots, I don't know what 2 years away looks like. I can probably give you a 90-day outlook, best case scenario. So anyways, take that for what it's worth. And while we're on the subject, get a fucking decent picture. If you're in a t-shirt and jeans applying for a bank position, that's probably not going to work. If you're a pilot and you take your picture in the cockpit, maybe that's okay. Like if it has some connection to what the industry you work in, like I probably think that's fine. I know some people are going to disagree with me. They want you in a suit and tie. And there's this whole bullshit debate right now, whether tie or no tie. You can wear a blazer with a dress shirt with a tie or without a tie, but you can't wear a dress shirt with a tie. Like, who the fuck cares, really? Like, just don't look like a slob in your picture. And I know some people are going to disagree with me on a lot of this stuff, but F them. So remember when I said I feel like shit a lot of times after going on LinkedIn because I compare myself to other folks and I imagine how much money these people are making, which I came up completely inside my head with zero basis for any of that. So here are some of my tips on how to not let trifling shit get you down, because the struggle is real. All right, number one, remember that most people on LinkedIn are masking reality. It's not real. Yeah, we might be able to see a person's career histories and promotions on here, but it's a highlights reel. In a world with mass redundancies and career instability, more and more people are using LinkedIn with the hope of presenting themselves to the world and getting work. Seeing folks you know achieve, you feel good for them, but you feel bad about yourself. Consider why you're using LinkedIn. I started really using LinkedIn prior to my retirement from the Army. And I got to say, I've gotten a few leads for jobs on LinkedIn. It's a great platform for that. Frankly, when I get a candidate that wants to come work where I work, I LinkedIn stalk them. I look at who their connections are. And usually, because my field is kind of, it's a smaller field, usually it's kind of a 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon's situation. Like I'll know somebody they know and I can reach out to that person and be like, hey man, actually I did it yesterday. I reached out to 2 folks I knew and I said, hey, you guys know this guy? Yeah, well, I kind of know him, but you know who does know him? We have a mutual friend, that guy. And so I call that guy, hey dude, so-and-so? Oh yeah, that guy's a great guy. Hire immediately. Or my favorite one is, hey man, so-and-so? Yeah. Hey, what's your thoughts on that guy? He's he's a nice guy. That tells me everything I need to know right then. Do not touch this dude. Anyways, rabbit hole there. So, back to consider why you're using LinkedIn. Are you trying to improve your network? Are you trying to use it as a way to move from the industry you're in to connect with some people that are outside of your industry? There's tons of creative ways to use LinkedIn, and you can research it all and spend years reading articles on how to do that. And I recommend you do, but you got to remember your why. If your why is to keep tabs on everybody and kind of like a professional Facebook, then like you need to get a better why. You're part of the problem, dude. Like, don't don't put your political bullshit on here. I'm just sick of seeing it. Also, don't argue with people on LinkedIn because remember, it's a professional networking site. So if you're having an argument about your opinion, that stuff is recorded in perpetuity. So as an employee, I can go on, find your recent comments, and read what you're writing to other folks. It might not be a great look for you. I mean, I kind of view it as like if you're wading in trivial bullshit, I don't know that I want to hire you because a lot of the things I need you to be above the fray and stay on task. So it's kind of an indicator for me. I'm not saying that that's always the case. I'm just saying fucking think about it. You got to remember what you can and you cannot control. You can control how you react to seeing a post that makes you feel like shit. But you can't control your coworker posting some bullshit or your boss brown nosing the corporate office. Like, holy sh! Those two are my favorite. Is like I see folks that I work with just put the most heinous bullshit on LinkedIn, and it's from a mile away. You're like, dude, that dude has got his nose so far up the company's ass. Like, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, let me be clear about saying that there's nothing wrong with supporting the company that you work for. If, in my opinion, if the thing that you're supporting is true. Some of the things I see on there from my worldview might not be true, but I also understand that other people have other opinions and their view of the world might be different from mine. So just let it go. Let it go. Set limits on your exposure to social media. You got to maintain a laser focus on your goals, and that's essential to avoid actions in order to accomplish your objectives. Some kind of continuing on this vein of effective strategies, maybe, or effective boundaries, maybe, to help you with to feel less like shit, is what I'm trying to say. Is what I've done is I've removed the app from my phone. If like on iPhones, you can just take the app off your desktop and then it's still running in the background, but you have to actively go and search for that. When you see that little dopamine hit, when the little red number or whatever it is pops up in the right corner of your app saying you have a notification, like the people that designed this stuff did it because they know that you want to click that right away and see what it is. So control this. Just remove it from your desktop, and then if you want to go on LinkedIn, just go to the search thing, type in LinkedIn, and it'll pull up, and then you can go on the app. And then when you're done, close it. But you're not getting that constant reminder of like, Billy just said, responded to something that, Sally's did. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it. You don't need that. So just remove the icon off your desktop, or just remove it all together from your phone and use the web-based thing where you have to actively go search for it. You can also use apps like Freedom. It can block certain websites on your phone for specific periods, kind of helping you stay focused. Another one, I've done this a few times, is you can mute people you may compare yourself to or you feel bad about. And that's kind of unfortunate, but until you develop the skills to just let it go, like this might be the first step you do. It's just mute them. Doesn't mean you can't be friends with them. Doesn't mean that they're not in your lives. You just don't want to hear their bullshit. So mute them. And if it includes your friends, and they say, hey, how come you didn't respond to my fucking visionary leader post about how I'm genuinely humble to accept the blah blah blah, promote. You can be like, well, dude, if you were genuinely humble, you wouldn't be posting this shit all over LinkedIn. I'm I'm kidding, all right. But you see what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of the anyway. It's one of those things that get me on LinkedIn. But if those people are your friends, you can explain to them that you're just taking a break from engaging with social media content. Like, you don't owe anybody any answers. If they're your real true friend, that will be enough. Or you can just have the conversation with them. Hey, man, I, your post is bullshit. Like, I love you like a brother, but like, I can't get bogged down by your bullshit. Be careful, because that might start some shit. But you got to do you. Figure it out. You can have social media free days. The world's still going out there, and it's good to connect with reality. Ultimately, remember that you don't owe anybody anything. Nobody is as happy or successful as they look on social media. It's all bullshit. Control what you can control and let everything else go.